But here we are trying again. Phone. What am I going to say? This is why I never do videos. This car is another, not brand new car. I don't actually know how many miles it's got on the clock, but it's got this nice Autoglym Lifeshine sticker in the window. And when I wash the car, it actually beads off quite nicely. Water behaviour on the car was pretty good. Lifeshine itself, it's probably not a terrible product if it's supplied well. But when you look through the water, you can see that there's all these dull marks on the car, and the customer just wasn't quite happy with how the car was looking, so he brought it into me for a good machine polish. And then, as I don't use Autoglym Lifeshine, I'm going to put Gtechniq on it. I'm not saying that Lifeshine's a bad product, it's a good product when applied well, but in this instance I'm going to put the Gtechniq coatings back onto it. When you're, I've got this little microphone. I found it better that when I'm walking around the room you can still hear me, but you just have to make sure that you plug the wire in when you're doing a piece to camera, which I didn't do last time. So for a second time, let me just say the bonnet is finally polished. It took quite a few hours on the bonnet. There was a lot of deep lines in a kind of slight arcing kind of movement, so typical from if someone had got a little bit of grit stuck in the wash mitt maybe, or they dried it with a silicone drying blade. There were some long arcing lines all over the bonnet, going both ways actually, so kind of typical from that kind of arm movement. So they took a lot of polishing out. You may have seen me picking up the rotary again, getting the old Fast Cut Plus out, which is a good tool to have when you know what to do with it. You don't want to do the whole car with it, or just leave it as that and then go straight to a refining stage. You need a kind of an in-between stage, but that was needed on this particular panel. A few stone chips that I'll touch in tomorrow, a little cluster around this area, one just there on the bonnet, but otherwise not too bad a condition, considering it's done 18,000 miles, so quite a nicely looked after car. And like I said before, it had the Autoglym Lifeshine on it. The prep on it isn't terrible for a dealership car. For what I do and for what other detailers do and for what you might want, it wasn't amazing. As you could see on this side of the bonnet, very dull still, and someone had just put the sealants over it. But for a dealer prepared car, not too bad at all. So well done to whoever supplied this, but we're going to make it a lot better. So last time you saw me was Tuesday, when I'd washed this car, put it in the booth, clayed the whole car and started polishing the bonnet. So it's going well. I've polished most of the car other than these two panels and the wing actually. I've got to refine this. So yeah, most of this side to do still. So I thought I'd get the camera out and show you a bit of the car again. It's very hard paint. Let's turn the brightness right down. Can you see how metallic that is? There's lots of different colours in there. It's kind of greens and purples. From some angles this paint looks black, from others it looks brown. There you can kind of see the green flake in it. It's pretty cool colour actually. But the swirls, I'll zoom in. So there you go, you can see just above that light. It's quite difficult to get them to show up actually. There you go, you can see above there the really fine swirls. There's some really deep marks as well down here. There's a really deep See that scratch that runs from left to right all the way across there? That's quite a nasty one. And then if I move back, actually, you can see the attempts at, I think they've tried sanding it out actually. Don't quite know why they've gone all the way down to there. There you can see that long scratch running all the way across that door. And then all the marring marks and attempts at polishing it out right up here. There's a good one on the front of the door. God, the light seems to be reflecting really brightly back. That patch there where it's, again, looks like they've tried to sand it. So we'll get that a lot better. The other side's come up 99.5% perfect. There's a couple of little deep marks that haven't come out. But these are all the kind of things that obviously at the dealership, they prepared it to an okay standard for a dealership car, to be honest. But they haven't gone to the extent of getting all these marks out. They've put the sealant on, and the sealant isn't going to change how this looks. It's just going to make it glossy. So that's the difference between what a dealership will do, maybe probably what a quick valeter will do. They might be able to do a good job, but someone that's got the time and experience of working on paint and being able to get these marks out will be able to get it back to as good, as perfect, or as near as perfect as possible. Ah yes, if that wasn't too long and boring, let me just quickly, so these, I wanted to show you, these are the new Gtechniq pads. I say new, they've probably been out for ages and everyone knows about them, but I've just got some through. They come in these boxes, don't quite know why I'm showing you those, but these are the pads. So that's the small 3-inch maybe, it's tapered off, so it's smaller at the bottom where it attaches to the machine than it is at the top. It's got this little groove around it that seems to, I thought it was just a bit of a design kind of feature so it stands out looks wise, but when you're using it, it kind of seems to compress that bit a bit nicer. And some pads, they don't really spin very well on the dual action machine, but this just seems to spin quite nicely. It's very hard. Takes a bit of getting used to, and the first time you use it you probably will hate it. It reminds me of the if you ever used or saw the Rupes UHS grey pads that they came out with. They were pretty hopeless because they never really warmed up, but these do warm up a bit. This is the yellow backed medium polish one, as is this larger one that I've used a few times and it's got a bit dirty, but yes, that's the 6-inch again. It's kind of got that bevel to the side of it and then this little cutout so that when you're pushing down on the edge, it compresses that without having to compress the whole pad, and it just seems to help it get into those little bits, like on this panel here where well, you can't see that, but let's say down here then, where it's a bit curved, you get the pad down there and it seems to just kind of go into that edge a little bit better than some of the other ones I've used. Quite a nice cut to them. When used, I've been using them with the Gtechniq range of polishes, the new red labelled H9 polish, which doesn't replace H8 but it just gives it a bit of extra cut. And in terms of comparing this to microfiber, which is what I normally go to on the dual action, it's nice that you don't need to clean these out with the air and get dust everywhere, so I'll tend to do 2 or 3 hits with these and then just vacuum them off actually. But yeah, worth a try, a little recommendation. Gtechniq, the heavy cut pad and the fine cut pad are the ones that I've got at the moment. I didn't bother with the purple soft cut, but having sampled these, I might give it a go. Right, hello. Some time has elapsed since I was last on camera. It's now Monday. So the last thing I spoke to you about was when I was polishing the door on the other side, and the deep scratch came out quite successfully. Took quite a lot of work, but very happy with how that came out, and you can see the polishing stages, how it needed several hits with the hard green pad and the 3M green top, and then several refining passes with the, I say refining, it was kind of like an intermediate pass then with the Gtechniq, and then I've done a final refining pass over the whole car with Sonak's Perfect Finish. And then today I've been putting on the Gtechniq Crystal Serum Ultra. This is pretty much the last panel I've got to do, so I thought I'd just do a little wrap up on the car. Obviously when it's all completely finished I'll show you some finished footage of it. The question in the title, should you let the dealers prepare your car? It's up to you really. I mean, hopefully I've shown you the standard of the paint, and obviously they've thought that's acceptable to send the car out with those marks on it, and put a ceramic coating onto it. So if that's okay for you, then yes, by all means, have the dealer work on your car. It's probably more convenient for you than bringing it to a detailer and leaving it for 3, 4, 5 days. But obviously there's only so much that the dealership can do. If you get a detailer to work on it, then you can expect to go several stages kind of better and get that paint to a point where it's as good or as good as it will go without having repaint, or as good as it will go without having any respray work, and hopefully kind of getting it back to as good as new almost. Obviously this car's got 20,000 miles, there's a few chips down the flanks, bonnet's not too bad, front end's not too bad, but there's a few age related marks on it. That's to be expected. You can't get rid of those unless you are wanting to completely respray the car. So hopefully that's just giving you a bit more insight into the differences between a dealership and something that a detailer can do. And then next year is looking fairly quiet to start off with. Haven't had too many inquiries for January yet, so watch this space. I'll probably do some kind of January promo. Let me just put these down. Right, so watch this space. I'll probably do some kind of January promo on my Instagram. Is it still recording sound? Yes, thank you. So yeah, keep an eye out for one of those if you're looking to get your car done and want to benefit from or want to take advantage of some discount. And yeah, that's it. I haven't introduced him. So I think the last video I did before this, or one fairly recently, was where I was asking if you wanted to be a detailer to get in touch, because I was looking at taking someone on. And for those that are observant on social media, I did take someone on. His name's James. He's been very useful, done a very good job this year. He's not here at the moment, otherwise I'd introduce you to him, but hopefully next year I will pick up the camera more, try and show you more things. If nothing else, it's a good way of me showcasing my work. And yeah, I'll introduce you to him, show you some of the things that or some of the bits that I've got him doing. He's pretty much doing everything other than the Crystal Serum Ultra applications. And it's nice having two people working along on a car, and just gets the jobs in and out a bit quicker. So that's it. That's the end of 2019 for me. Thank you for watching. Thank you for watching the previous videos, and I'm sorry it's been a bit of a quiet year for the videos. Like I say, I'll show you the final shots of this in a moment. If you've got any questions, I'll do my best to answer. I know I'm not always the quickest at responding, but pop a comment in the comments section. If there's anything you'd like to see in the videos next year, any reviews of products or aspects of the work that you want to see more of, I appreciate it. I just tend to show a bit of polishing and then sealant application because they're the easiest things to set the camera up for. But I should really kind of show a few more of the kind of finishing jobs that I do that get done on every car, but it's just setting the camera up and everything takes a lot more time for those sometimes. So yeah, if there's anything in particular you want to see, any questions on how to do a particular job, feel free to ask and I'll do my best to include those in a future video. Thank you for watching and I'll hopefully see you next year.